Imagine being told that God himself authorized the theft of your land, the enslavement of your people, and the destruction of your civilization. That document exists, and it was written in 1452, and it wasn't formally disavowed until 2023. In 1452, Pope Nicolas V issued Diversas, authorizing the Portuguese crown to invade Africa, seize its lands, and reduce its people to perpetual slavery. In 1455, he expanded those powers to cover all lands Portugal had seized and would seize. In 1493, Pope Alexander VI extended the same permission to Spain, drawing a line across the Atlantic and dividing the so-called non-Christian world between two European kingdoms. This was the doctrine of discovery. Any land not inhabited by Christians was free to be invaded and exploited. Its people had no rights a Christian was bound to respect. But this wasn't a theological statement. It was a business arrangement. Portugal and Spain didn't come to the Vatican for moral guidance. They came for permission to get rich. Through the patronato real, the crowns funneled a percentage of every colonized territory's resources back to the church. The more they seized, the more they enslaved, the wealthier they became. This wasn't the voice of God. It was the voice of greed dressed in the robes of God. They didn't need to believe it was true. They just needed the paperwork. What followed is beyond counting. Millions killed, millions more destroyed by famine, forced labor, debt, and deliberate poverty. The death toll didn't end when the colonizers left. It continued through IMF policies, rigged trade agreements, and the suppression of African sovereignty. It continues today. Because the powers responsible have never intended to dismantle the system that funds their place in the world. The doctrine of discovery made it all possible, not by making men monsters, but by making Africans something less than men. The killing didn't require cruelty. It required belief. On March 30th, 2023, 571 years after the first papal bull, the Vatican formally repudiated the doctrine of discovery, said the documents had been manipulated for political purposes. Manipulated. That's the word that they chose for 600 years of African genocide, slavery, and theft. The church today holds assets worth trillions, built on tithes, slave plantations, and a percentage of every resource their papal bulls unlocked. They wrote the doctrine, they collected the dividends, and when they finally admitted it was wrong, they didn't return a single dollar. They just stopped claiming it was God's idea. And if you didn't know, now you know.